So I think previously, looking 12 to 24 months ago, companies were thinking more about their valuations of the business rather than their profitability of that business. So what I mean is a lot of companies were focusing on growth at all costs, whereas now it's more so important to think about your profitability and your bottom line so that you can actually survive, if not thrive, through these times. What I mean by that is microeconomics is looking at your profitability. What's your lifetime customer value? What is your gross profit, gross margin? Understanding, improving those elements as quickly as possible so that as you're scaling, your bottom line is looking healthy, I think is super important. If you're sitting on like 5% of your top line, I mean, that's quite worrying, right? You want to try and aim for anywhere from 20 to 40% ideally of your bottom line to have somewhat a business that's going to survive or thrive. And then obviously just now, for example, with Bestbook, we've done that exercise recently to ensure that our business is profitable, and we've tweaked the strategy to be going after businesses, our business unit that's more profitable rather than growth at all costs. So that when we come out of this, it's like, okay, well, we've got money in the bank now, we've got positive cash flow, and now we can really scale having our own funding. And then at that point, you can increase the share value as much as possible for shareholders. And then ultimately, if you wanted to exit or whatever, it's done in a way that puts you in the best position. So only recently, you probably would have seen Mr. Yam had to, for example, put down 17% of their workforce. Like, that's because they've recently raised money and they weren't necessarily profitable as a business. So they have to do two things. It's either you increase your sales dramatically because if your microeconomics are not up to scratch, or you bring your costs down, or you do both ideally. And so to bring their costs down, they obviously had to remove some workforce. And you see this with the likes of Google and other companies that recently spoke to this. Understanding your customer lifetime value, your profitability is super important now, more so than ever before.